Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're gonna do a comparison review on both of the Rufus Shinra figures made by PlayArts Kai. So I hope you guys will enjoy the video, and with that being said, let's get into it. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the packaging for these figures. So on the front we have a nice photo of the figures themselves, and we have the Final Fantasy VII Remake and AC logos. And as for the sides, we have the logo of the game and the film once again with the PlayArts Kai logo. And on the back we have a couple of screenshots of the figures themselves in various poses. And just a quick look at the inside of the packaging, just in case you guys want to check it out. So first up we have the inside of the AC Rufus. So right over here we have a bit of text. So if you guys want to read this, then feel free to pause and read. I just hope you guys can make out all the text. And over here we have the Remake Rufus. So once again, it's pretty much the exact same. We have a photo of the figure, a bit of text, so feel free to pause and read. And here we have the figure, once again in a nice window display packaging. Okay, so this is a look at the accessories that come with the figures. So first up, let's take a look at the AC Rufus. So we have the gun, we have a pair of interchangeable hands, we have a spare head sculpts, and we have the box. And of course we have the figure itself, and the outer packaging. Now as for the Remake Rufus, he comes with a lot more accessories, as you guys can see. So we have quite a few pairs of interchangeable hands, we have a spare head sculpt, we have all these various guns down here, and we have the figure itself. We have the display stand inside the back, and of course we have the packaging. Okay, so this is just a quick look at my entire PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake and AC figures. So yeah, I do have a review of every single figure here. So if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe and be sure to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these Final Fantasy VII Remake figure reviews. But yeah, here's a look at the Remake Rufus, along with all the remake figures. So we have Rude, Sephiroth, Reno, Aerith, Rufus, Red 13, Cloud Strife, and Tifa. And down here I have the, this is the AC Rufus. So I've got him displayed beside the remake Barrett, the Dirge of Cerberus, Vincent Valentine, Crisis Core, Zack Fair, and the first release of Cloud Strife. So yeah, with that being said, let's take a closer look at both of the Rufus Shinras made by PlayArts Kai. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, so let's take a look at the figure, and let's begin with the AC Rufus. So now, it's not the best head sculpts. I mean, this is the first Final Fantasy VII figure that PlayArts Kai ever made from AC. So you know, it's definitely not the best head sculpts out of all the AC figures. I wouldn't say it's got the best likeness to Rufus from the film, but compared to the remake, I mean, the remake looks so much better. It's a much sharper sculpt, and it actually has a pretty good likeness to how he looked in the remake. But yeah, I just want you guys to keep that in mind, that this is a very, very old figure. So I mean, it's a much outdated figure, to say the least. So moving down here to the body, I mean, he's basically just a guy inside a white suit. This is probably like my least favorite design out of all the Final Fantasy VII characters. You know, it's just such a plain design. There's really nothing much here to talk about, apart from the white suit and all these bandages, you know, on his face and on his chest. The remake design is so nicely done. It's so much more intricate, and there's so many more pieces. We have all these belts and buckles, all these pieces of fabric and straps sculpted in here. It's just a much, much better design, and it looks very elegant. So here's the hand on the AC Rufus, holding this gun. I don't know the name of this gun. If someone can help me out in the name of this, I really can't remember. But here's how it looks, and here's how the new remake gun looks. You know, this one looks so much better. We have all these nice gold details in the rifle, but yeah, so much more details, and it's got a much better design. So in his hand he's holding the box, which is a very cool accessory. It's very nicely detailed, and you can even make out the yellow seal sticker, which is a very cool touch. And as you guys would expect, the box does not open up. I mean, we do have some nice folds and creases sculpted at the bottom here, but it's not very realistic. It looks very outdated. I just don't really think it looks that great. I mean, as for the paint, it's not too bad. It is painted white, but we have different tones in here, like almost blue, which is a very nice touch. And so moving on here to the Remake Rufus, which is a much better figure. As you can see, the sculpting is so much sharper, and you can even see his eyes are painted a bright blue. And you can make out all the eyelashes and the eyebrows painted in there, whereas on the AC version, you can't really make it out. It's a very blurry paint job. So yeah, the paint job is so much better here. Even the hairpiece is really nice. Really nicely sculpted. All the strands of hair sculpted in there. And yeah, as for the body piece, a much more intricate design compared to the AC version. Okay, so here's the sides of the figures, and we have a nice profile of the face and the sides of the body piece. So now I would say from the side, I think maybe the AC Rufus looks better. You know, it's just a much more interesting design with the whole bandage. Whereas on the remake, it's a very plain design. You can see the AC version is a very large figure. He's pretty buff. Whereas on the remake, it's a very slim design. You know, it's a very slim character. Even the gun here, you can see there's a massive difference in terms of the design. So it's pretty much the exact same from the side. There's really not too much of a difference. Once again, we have a nice profile of the head sculpts. So this is the AC and the remake. Moving down here to the body piece. You can see on this arm he's holding the box, the box of Mother. And here's the back of the figures, and we have a nice look at the back of the suit and the cloak piece. There's one big difference here, as you guys may notice. I mean, as I mentioned before, the AC Rufus is very broad. He's a very buff character. He's much more thicker compared to the remake Rufus here. This design is very slim, but on the AC, he's just way too buff, way too broad. It just doesn't really suit the character. Here's a look at the back of the headpiece with the bandage and the suit with all these nice folds and creases sculpted in there. And as for the remake, we have a lot more detail. We have all the folds and creases. We even have like texturing, like real fabric textures, which is pretty impressive. All these belts and buckles sculpted in here, all the straps and pieces of clothing, which are made out of a soft piece of plastic. And just in case you guys want to check out the back of the guns. So now I've got to say, the articulation for both of these figures is very bad. Even the new remake Rufus has very poor articulation because of the cloak piece. And because this is such an old figure, it's got to be like 15 years old by now. It's just naturally got very bad articulation. But anyhow, let's take a look here. So let's begin with the original AC Rufus. So as for the head sculpt, we have a ball joint in there. As for the shoulders, we have these ball hinge joints. Even though this cloak piece, this suit is made out of a soft piece of plastic, you know, it still hinders the articulation. Inside the elbows, we have these, they're almost like ball ratchet joints. You can hear they're pretty loud joints. We have this ball hinge joint at the wrist, and we have a ball joint inside the torso piece. Inside the waist, we also have a ball joint, but you know, it's very restrictive. So inside the hips, we have these ball ratchet joints, as you guys can hear that. Inside the knee, we have these double hinge joints, but you know, I guess they're not too bad, but they feel very stiff. I just don't really want to move it too much, just in case I break it. And as for the ankle piece, we have, seems to be like a ball hinge joint in there, and we don't even have like a hinge joint at the toe. So yeah, overall, very bad articulation for the figure. That's about as far as the articulation goes, just standing in one pose. Now let's take a look at the articulation for the new remake Rufus. So I would say the articulation is much better, but with saying that, it's still pretty poor articulation. So as for the head sculpt, we have a ball joint in there. We also have a ball joint at the base of the neck. As for the shoulders, we have these very nice ball hinge joints. These are very fluid joints, and they can move all the way up. So as for the elbows, we have these newly developed double hinge joints, and they can bend all the way up like so. As for the wrist, we have a ball hinge joint. We have a ball joint inside the torso, but once again, very restrictive due to the jacket piece. Even though it's made out of a soft piece of plastic, it still hinders the articulation, just like the AC Rufus. Now as for the legs, this is the worst articulation here, because even though this piece once again is made out of a soft piece of plastic, you know, you just can't really get the articulation, the movement here. It's so restrictive. So as you can see, the hips are on a ball ratchet joints. As you guys can hear that. It seems like we have a swivel at the thigh. We have a double hinge joint at the knee, which can go back like so. I guess it's not too bad because we have spaces inside the clothing, so you can get some posability in there, but that's not great. We have a ball hinge joint at the ankle piece, and we have a hinge joint at the toe. So, you know, yeah, just really not the best articulation for both of these figures. But anyhow, that's a quick demo. Okay, so that about covers it for this comparison review on both of these Rufus Shinra figures made by PlayArts Kai. So yeah, I mean, if you guys don't own a Rufus Shinra figure, then I would say definitely pick up the new remake figure of Rufus. You know, it's a much better figure. The AC Rufus, I mean, it's a very outdated figure. I don't really recommend picking up this figure at all, unless you guys are planning to pick up the whole entire AC line. Otherwise, I would say don't pick up this figure. But anyhow guys, I hope this review was helpful, and I hope you guys enjoyed. As I mentioned before, I do have a review of every single figure here, so if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe and be sure to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these remake figure reviews. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, guys.